As was mentioned earlier, for
Recording is
the
on.
as was mentioned earlier for the tutorial session, we're going to go through the quiz and also an assignment. The first assignment that was posted. All right, so let
Miss,
me go. Yes.
is now still supposed to do the quiz?
Actually, in the time between the lecture that we just had and this class starting now,
Oh,
but
because I
but
think
we're going to. You weren't able to do it.
no, miss.
But we're going to go through it together as well as the assignment as well. All right. All right. So are you seeing my screen now?
Yes, miss.
Okay. So let me refresh. All right. So here are the questions. So the first question: a small plastic card utilized as a form of payment in business transaction that allows individuals to purchase goods and services immediately and pay back monthly payments in the future is called a.
Credit card.
Yes. So credit card is correct. All right. Next question. All right. So a post-dated check is one which, and we have the options.
C.
Is dated for payment at a future date. Yes, C is correct. All right, so next question. Money can be accumulated and used to purchase a car in 3 years. What function of money is this? Is it a measure of value, store of value, standard of value, or medium of exchange?
Come in.
All right, so either one of these. These are all functions of money, but which one of them does the situation demonstrates?
Store of value.
Yes, that is correct. Store of value. All right, so money can be accumulated or it can be saved up, and then within 3 years' time, you can buy a car. So that is store of value. All right, next question. Which of the following instruments of exchange permits customers to lodge queries or complaints via the telephone? So we have electronic transfer, mobile money, e-commerce, and telebanking.
Telebanking.
Right, that is correct. All right, next question. Which of the following is not a function of money? So we have medium of exchange, store of value, measure of value, and indivisibility.
Mm, D.
Right, indivisibility. So that is not a function of money. All right, next question. All the following are characteristics of money except, so we have it is durable, it is perishable, it is portable, and it is divisible. So which one of these um, is not a characteristic of money?
B.
Right, B, it is perishable. Next question. Making payments by means of a cell phone is referred to as, is it barter, bill of exchange, M-money, or money order?
Mm, B.
B as in bill of exchange.
Yeah. Yes, Miss. RC.
B is not correct. So it's actually C, M money. Remember, M stands for mobile,
Well,
right? And when you think of mobile, you're thinking about the cell phone, right? So you being able to make payments using your cell phone is referred to as M money or mobile wallet. So the answer here is C. All right, so the next question. So John Brown has bananas and wants to exchange it for cassava. Mary has cassava but wants to exchange it for some fish. As a result, trading between the two cannot take place. Which limitation of bartering hindered their transaction? Is it indivisibility of goods, double coincidence of wants, rate of exchange, or store of wealth?
double coincidence
Right, double
of
coincidence of
ones.
wants, right. So John Brown, he has bananas, but he wants cassava. Mary has cassava, but she don't want bananas, she wants fish. So that is the problem that hindered their transaction. And the next question that we have here, the person who issues a check is referred to as the, so we have drawee, we have receiver, we have drawer, and we have payee.
C.
The drawer, yes, that is correct. And I believe we have one more question. So the trading of one good or service for another of equal value without the use of money is called
A.
a barter. Right. Very good. All right. Not bad. I think if my memory serves me correct, you got either 8 or 9 out of 10. That's very good. My pass rate is 80%. All right. So now we're going to proceed to the assignment that was given. Are you still able to see my screen with the assignment 1 answers?
Yes, Miss.
All right, good. All right, so there were two questions. All right. Question 1 had subsections A, B, C, D, and then question 2 was a case study. So we're going to start with question 1.
Miss, we never finish the case study.
Oh, you were at the case study.
Yes, Miss.
All right. Well, we're going to get there and we're going to discuss it. Alright, so the first question, define the concept barter. What was your response?
Barter is the exchange of goods and services for other goods and services without the use of money.
The use of money, correct. So right then and there, you would have received 2 marks. Alright, good. And that is similar to the response I have. And the second question, identify 3 problems early traders encountered with barter. Well, what were your 3?
No one have any different from yours.
Well, it could still be there even though it's not on my list. What were they?
Just have one up. Just like an example.
Mm-hmm.
A,
Let me hear
per-
it.
a person may sell his product at one place for money and use the same to buy another product at the same place using the same money.
And what problem is that?
Mm,
Come again, remember that barter did not involve the use of money. So your example should not include money.
yes, miss.
All right, so let me hear the other one that you have.
Only one
Oh,
alone.
just one, just one. All right, so any of these 3. So there was difficulty establishing a double coincidence of ones, right? As with the example that we saw in the quiz. Right? So as I mentioned before, I had to have what you want and you needed to have what I want in order for a train to take place. And this was often not the case, right? So that was a problem. The next one was indivisibility of goods, right? It would be difficult to divide the goods in order to provide, for example, change. Alright, so that was a huge problem. And the final one I have here was difficulty in establishing an agreed rate of exchange. Right? How do we determine how many chickens a cow is worth, right? Or how many bananas a machete is worth? So those are the problems that were encountered, and that would have gained you 3 marks. All right, so on to number three. So number three required you to this.
Miss, wait. Mix them up. That one was, oh, that was, that was the answer I had for discuss 3 ways in which,
Money solves some of the challenges.
yes,
Okay, because I was saying your response, you mentioned money, but money was not used during the barter system. All right, so that was okay. So this question now discuss 3 ways in which money has resolved some of the challenges of the barter system. And you gave me, you had one response for this one.
no, all of them.
All right.
Difficult to establish an agreed rate of exchange, the need for a double coincidence of one's inability
Mm-hmm.
to store wealth.
All right. So for each no, you are required. So you will get 1 point, right, for outlining the challenges that money resolved, and then another point each for explaining how this problem was resolved, right, with the use of money. All right. So you're ready to discuss now?
You didn't do that part.
You didn't do that? Well, miss, you would only get 3 marks, though. And this is worth 6 marks. So you have to pay attention to the verb. All right, so it does not say list, it said discuss. So you need to provide more information to what you just provided me with. All right, so here I have it is a universal medium of exchange. So it says money is universally accepted in exchange for all goods and services. This resolves the challenge of establishing a double coincidence of wants for one's commodity. So you did mention double coincidence of wants, right?
Yes, miss.
Right. And so this is how money solved that problem, right? You don't need to have what I want, and I don't need to have what you want in terms of having the actual good. As long as we both have money, right? Seeing that it is universally accepted, everybody accepts money for items. Seeing that it is universally accepted, if you have money, right, and I have the good, then we can do an exchange. We can trade items with use of money. The next one we have is that it is divisible. So money can be divided into smaller units, and this resolves the problem of indivisibility of goods under the barter system. So remember, it was hard to break down the items into smaller units, but with money, that problem can now be solved, right? You can divide up a $5,000 and give back somebody $1,000 change, for example. And the next one I have here is that it is a measure of value. So this means that the value of prices of all other goods and services, it can be expressed in units of money, right? So we can say something is worth $1,000, $2,000, $50, whatever the case may be. We can express its value through money. Now, this overcame the need to fix rates of exchange between every different item in a barter system, right? So we don't need to determine that, oh, a cow is worth 20 chickens, etc. Right? We can measure the value using money, right? So a cow is worth, I don't know, $30,000. So we can use money to express its value. All right, so that is it for 3, A3. So moving on now to BI. So it says differentiate between telebanking and e-commerce. What was your response?
Telebanking is making bank transactions using a computer network, while e-commerce is the buying and selling of information.
Buying
Product,
and selling of information?
buying and selling of products and services.
Right, right, right. Okay. It is key to note that with telebanking, yes, I heard you mention something about the internet, right? It's key to mention that telebanking involves the use of the telephone, right, to conduct business. So you need to use a telephone to conduct business. And e-commerce can be defined as business activities such as marketing of goods and services, and also, as you mentioned, the buying and selling of goods and services, right? That includes the use of the computer network, the internet, the email, right? the World Wide Web, etc. So that is the difference between telebanking. Telebanking uses the telephone, e-commerce uses the computer network to do business transactions. All right, so the next question we have here, B2, identify two problems customer may encounter when they participate in e-commerce. What were your responses?
An absence of online identity verification.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get to see what you're ordering face to face, and you might get the wrong order.
You might get the wrong order, right? Because mistakes do happen. Yes, so those responses are acceptable, especially the first one about not being able to verify a person's identity. Because we know persons can create fake identities online or even steal people's identity, right? And then, for example, steal their credit card information and do business transactions using their personal details. The ones that I have here as well is that damaged goods, they can be difficult to replace, right? So yes, you can return them, but it may be a lengthy process. And also, customers may be required to pay a return shipping fee when they're returning the items. The second one here is that security issues regarding personal and financial information put consumers at the risk of identity theft, right, as was mentioned earlier, and online scams and fraud as well. And the final question under number one, outline three instruments of exchange. Let me hear the three that you have.
Credit card, debit
Mm-hmm.
card, and electronic transfer.
Right, very good. And I also have two from your list: debit card, credit card. My other one is bill of exchange. So any of the ones that I gave you in the list would have been acceptable. So that's 3 marks. All right, so now we're going to move on to the case study. So you are required to read the case study and identify the problems of the barter system experienced by ancient Tim and Zion. So here is the case study. So ancient Tim, who cultivated peas and corn for himself and his wife, wished to have fish to complement his peas and corn for dinner. He approached Harry, but Harry had only mutton and did not require peas or corn. He approached Jane, Frank, and Mary, but still was unsuccessful. After days, ancient team, he met Zion, who had some very large fish. Now they both had difficulty in deciding how many of ancient team's peas could be exchanged for one of Zion's large fish. Also, Zion needed animal bones to make spears for fishing the next day. He approached Mary, Harry, and Jack, but by late evening he was unable to find a suitable person with whom to exchange his remaining fish for the bones of animals. Alright, so once again, you are required to identify the problems of the barter system experienced by ancient Rome. Alright, so you said you did not get to complete. Did you get to start? Did you identify at least one?
Mm,
Alright, so here are the responses. So I identified two problems: the need for a double coincidence of one. So this meant that ancient team, he had to find someone who had fish and required peas and corn, right? So remember, who did he approach first? He approached Harry, right? But Harry only had mutton, and Harry did not want any peas or corn. So he had to go again and try to approach other persons until he finally found someone who had some fish that he wanted, right? Zion also, he faced the same problem when he could not find someone who had bones and required fish. So there wasn't that need. There wasn't that double coincidence of one, sorry. So there was a need for that. And the other problem identified was the indivisibility of the commodity, right? So that is Tim, he did not want all the fish that Zion had, and therefore there was a problem in deciding on the exchange rate of the items and their value, especially in light of the fact that they were both perishable items. So the fish could perish, the peas and the corn could perish as well, and they had problems deciding how they were going to divide up the items so that there could be a fair exchange. All right. So do you understand the case study now with the problems identified?
Yes, miss.
Alright, so this will be posted in the class, in the course room as well. So you can look for it later and review. And the quiz is there as well. Are any questions about today's lessons, about the tutorial, or about the lecture?
Mm,
Alright, so this is normally the time when I would discuss and explain more with you, but apparently everything seems to be clear. So I believe that is it for our first tutorial. What I will do is to try to post the tutorials beforehand, so probably sometime earlier in the week, so that you don't have to rush to do it in between the lecture and the tutorial. And I will try to post notes prior to the lesson as well, so you can check within the week to see the resources that are up there, so that you can have time to read before or do the activities before, so that we can further engage in a discussion during our sessions. And hopefully by then, we would have more persons joining our online classes.
yes, miss.
All right, so that is the end of class today, Deshani. I'm looking forward to see you next week.
Yes, miss.
All right,
Bye.
bye. See you.